Hi, I'm Joshua Alexander, mental health freedom fighter, and today I have with me Candice, and she's going to share her healing testimony with medical medium information. So, welcome, Candice. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Great. So, would you like to start with when you first started struggling with some symptoms and what you were experiencing?
Sure. It didn't happen until after the birth of my second baby. Anxiety hit me like a ton of bricks. One day I was just driving home, and all of a sudden I got this weird, scared, panicky feeling. And I remember talking to my husband at the time on the phone, and I just said, I have to go. And I just threw the phone in the passenger seat and didn't know what was going on, driving home. And like it kind of just came and went that day. And it just made me really wonder, like, what is going on? And so as time progressed, every day when I went to go do that same drive, it would just hit me again. I'd get this scared feeling, and pretty soon it turned into panic attacks driving home. And then like panic attacks waking me in my sleep. All of a sudden I was just nervous 24/7, tight chest, sweaty hands, just all the time. Like even I worked from home by myself and I couldn't figure out why I felt so anxious all the time. And it was so bad that over the course of that first month, I lost 10 pounds because I couldn't eat. And I was nursing my baby at the time, and it was just a mess. And I didn't know what to do. So I went to the doctor to get medication, and I asked her, I said, why would this happen all of a sudden? Because also it was also affecting my gut. And, I would have to use the bathroom instantly when I got anxious. It just became really bad, really fast. And I'm like, why would this happen all of a sudden? I just knew in my heart it was something that could be fixed because came on so fast. But she said to me, she's like, I don't know, but let's get you on some medication. I'm like, okay, well, all right. And so I got on the medication and it helped for about 6 weeks, but then I started having breakthrough anxiety even more. And I always kept my dose low on the medication because I thought it was more of a mental issue. Like I could think myself out of this. I was trying to figure out like why all of a sudden do I have anxiety? And I had recently moved home to work like a few months before, and I thought maybe it's because I'm not around people. Like all of a sudden I have this problem. And so I started just pushing myself to go out and do more and try to fix it on my own, mentally. And over a year, I weaned off my medication. Um, and, the anxiety over the years was kind of just up and down. Sometimes it would be really bad, sometimes it wouldn't be so bad. And this happened over the span of 9 years. And so I struggled with trying to find the answers for 9 years, like trying to beat it mentally and, make myself do exposure therapy. And, you know, it never made sense to me because there would be times I thought I got over it. Like I would push myself to go do things. And once I did them a few times, I didn't feel so much anxiety. And I thought, okay, well, that's, the trick. But then I'd stop for a month and go do that same thing and boom, get slammed with anxiety all over again. And it just never made sense to me. So
Yeah.
I just, kept on that way until I finally found medical medium.
So, was that creating challenges in your relationships? Were you feeling like something was wrong with you, feeling down on yourself about it, or what were you?
Oh, oh, for sure. I thought I was going crazy in the beginning. I thought something was really wrong with me, and it really scared me because I would even have like really crazy anxious thoughts that would come out of nowhere, like, oh, don't put that knife away because what if you, or don't touch those knives when you're putting them away? Like, what if you did something with them? Or driving, I'd be like, what if you swerved into traffic? And it would just the thought would get send me into panic. And
Hmm.
yeah, it was a mental struggle every day.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
yeah.
I had stuff like that, like fears come up
Hmm.
like that. Um, did it affect your relationships at all? Like, were people blaming you or?
No, I mean, my husband at the time, I guess it did affect us because he didn't know how to handle it. He didn't know what I was dealing with. He didn't seem to realize the severity of it. Like the first time I had a panic attack when it was at night, he used to work the graveyard shift. And I had a panic attack out of my sleep, and I just felt like I had to go to the hospital because, that's how you feel. And I asked him to come home, and by the time he came home, I was wearing down. It was tapering off, and I said, I think I just had a panic attack. And he's like, oh, and just turned around and went to play video games. And I'm like, well, maybe a hug would be nice, like, but he just never understood how severe it was. And so that was a turning point for us in our relationship. I ended up
Yeah.
getting divorced later on, but
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, people don't really understand.
Hmm.
It's yeah. So were you trying, you said you tried medication. Were you trying other like alternative trends or, the health fads and stuff like that as well? Or,
Well, I always like I had so many anxiety books where I would try different, breathing techniques, meditations, workbooks, like things like exposure therapies where you make yourself go do these things. I did all the supplements that I could find for anxiety. Before MM, I did. So it wasn't just anxiety when I started my healing journey. I did experience a really deep depression for the first time a month after I started my healing journey. And that's what really ignited um, the passion to find the answer because I did a Whole 30 um, about 7 years ago. I thought 30 days of eating whole foods, I'm going to feel great when I'm done. And when I was done, I actually suddenly had depression for the first time. And it was really deep and dark, and it scared me because I had two little kids, and I couldn't find the joy in anything. And I remember, just starting to look for answers. And I ended up finding a book that had supplements that said, would help certain conditions. And I ended up doing the 5-HTP for it like pulled me out of that within days. And
Mhm.
MM recommends that, and
Yeah.
I've seen that, and it is really powerful. So from that point on, I never had depression anymore, but I had it for about a month. Um, but
Yeah.
so then I started my healing journey like, okay, something's much worse than I thought it was. Like there's something deeper going on here. And so I started doing, like paleo, keto. I went strict paleo for 2 years, gave up gluten, dairy. I hired functional medicine for a year, and I only got worse through that.
Hmm.
And about 6 months before I found MM, I was still working with functional medicine, but I got food poisoning. And that just accelerated my anxiety to a whole nother level of like level 100. And I couldn't even handle like my mom coming over to talk to me in my own house because my hands were sweaty and I feel like I need to run away. Like I just felt panicky. And
Wow.
I just, yeah, I knew
That's
something.
terrible.
It is. It just like you can't
Anxiety's,
live that way.
yeah. Yeah, it's the worst. I remember I had depression as well and anxiety and psychosis, but the anxiety was the worst. It was like I wanted to get out of my skin. I just
Yeah.
couldn't stand the feeling. I would pace and like walk and it's terrible.
Yeah, because
So,
you can't even you can't relax, you can't
yeah,
find comfort even by yourself.
yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Oh. So were you like but when you came up to finding MM info, were you what was that? What was it? How did that come about?
So when I worked with this functional medicine coach, she had told me about celery juice, but I was doing it all wrong. Like she said, just have it in the morning. I was adding it to my smoothies every day, thinking that's what I had to do. And so um, when I got done with working with her, I was at that point where I had literally tried everything I could think of, everything I've Googled and tried. I tried Candida diets, gut cleanses, like everything. And I don't know what it was, but I just remembered celery juice. And then I thought, I'm going to look that up. And then when I seen that medical medium wasn't just celery juice, it was such a deeper, like more vast thing. I'm like, well, this I haven't tried. And so I'm
Mhm.
like, that's the rest is history.
Wow. So she
Mhm.
suggested celery juice, but didn't cite it, like didn't give the reference to medical
Right.
medium.
Right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Wow. Yeah. So you looked it up, you saw medical medium. Did you order one of the books or what did
Yep.
you start?
I ordered Cleanse to Heal,
Hmm.
got it, read it, started bawling. And I went out and told my boyfriend, I'm like, this is it. Like, just a gut feeling this is the answer.
Yeah.
And he was, at that point, he was like, he'd supported me through everything. And he's like, Candice, I'm so worried that you're just exhausting yourself trying to find answers. And he's like, I, this seems kind of crazy, but he's like, do what you got to do. And then now he tells everybody about MM.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
That's amazing. You just like kept searching for the answer. You just kept the faith and kept looking and you
Yeah,
found
I
it.
you just know like deep in your soul like if an illness can come on like that, like there's certainly something that can fix it. It's like there's got to be an answer. I
Yeah.
just always knew there was an answer, and it's like it's either you keep looking. I don't even know how someone could accept being miserable like that. It's like
Mhm.
that's my only choice felt like to keep looking.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's because that it's basically it would just be accepting that something's wrong with you. Like,
Mhm.
we're blamed for the symptoms, and then it's just um it would be just accepting that something's wrong with me. And I didn't want to believe that. It's like, why would I want to believe that?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and then hearing the anxiety podcast, it's like everything he described on that, almost every single thing I had dealt with.
yeah.
And because, he says some anxiety, this one might be your thing, this one might be your thing, but like it was almost everything. And I just, to be understood is
Yeah.
like just like a big hug.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing. I remember when I got the first book too. It's just mind blowing. It's after searching all the trends, you can tell the difference in the
Yeah.
information. It's like, wow, this is real. Like, this is the answer.
The
So
details and how it just speaks to you.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because so many books that I have read before, it was like just one solid idea for the whole book, or a few basic
Mhm.
ideas. But
Mhm.
these are just like one aha moment after another, and all the
Yeah.
puzzle pieces just slam together.
Yeah. That's wild. So
Mhm.
what did you, once you read Cleanse the Heal, what did you start implementing initially?
Um, well, I had to wrap my brain around giving up eggs. So that took me like a month to get rid of those. But I just immediately started, celery juice, which, I had had that food poisoning for 6 months, and my stomach had been upset like every morning for 6 months. And within a week or two of celery juice, it was back to normal. And I'm like, you just immediately start seeing things that tell you this is the way.
Mhm.
And I did my first advanced 369 about a month in. And then about 3 months in, I did the 28-day all raw cleanse. And um, immediately that like knocked down my adrenaline rush panic feelings. Like, because I would take my kids to school, which was like 5, 10 minutes away, and I would have to fight panic the entire time. So ever since I did that cleanse, no more panic. Like it was just gone.
Wow. That's
Hmm.
amazing.
Hmm. I
That's
still had the
wild.
anxiety up and down. So just as I did it as good as I could until I learned even more info. Like I'd learn about, vinegar or the little things that you shouldn't have. So I just started every time I learned something, I'd get rid of it, and just within a few months I was full on protocols, I would say. And
That's
then I gave up
amazing.
meat. That 28-day cleanse is the only reason I gave up meat because I just realized I felt so much better. And I'm like, I guess I'm done. It was never even a hard decision.
Wow.
I thought it was gonna be because I loved meat so much, but once I felt the feeling of how it, how it helped so much, I'm like, okay,
That's
guess I'm
amazing.
done. Yeah.
So would you say at this point that you don't have any anxiety other than like normal reaction to, like, stress or life events or whatnot? Like,
Right. About 14 months in, I noticed it was just not happening anymore.
mhm.
And so it's been about 2.5 years since I've had daily anxiety. I will get like PTSD about certain situations because
Mhm.
I remember them being hard. But as soon
Mhm.
as I show up, it's like I never have any physical symptoms. So it's
Yeah.
like I just have to learn to trust myself in certain situations. But
Huh.
other than that, no daily, no out of the blue anxiety.
That's amazing. So after
Mhm.
9 years,
Yeah.
in 14 months, it was basically healed.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's incredible.
Yep.
That's,
I'm never changing, never going back.
yeah, me too.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's amazing.
Mhm.
Wow. So, would you have any like last insights or tips for people who might be struggling with anxiety or mental health challenges, for their journey of healing?
Well, to take advantage of like the lemon balm and take the supplements I think that help that the GABA and even magnesium. Um, heavy metal smoothie is a must.
Yeah.
I know when I started that, it was kind of powerful, and I had to start with less and move up because I notice when metals are moving, I really do have symptoms, and I did the advanced extractor or the advanced heavy metal cleanse for 30 days
Hmm.
early this spring, and it gave me a cluster of migraines. So like it can be powerful, so you can go a little slower.
Hmm.
Um, and then, just I just feel like it's the information is so full of truth that I had no choice than to just dig my heels in and just go for it because my anxiety was like this the whole time for like at least the first 8 months. And then I even had like times where it just flared like crazy. And I thought, is this really working? And then I would reach out to people that have already healed, and they're like, yes, just keep going. And um, you just have to settle in that this is the truth. And however long it takes is however long it takes.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
didn't start feeling really good till about 3 years. And
Really?
yeah, because I was really sick for a long time. And yeah, but I just knew it was the truth. And yeah, I just got to keep going and keep doing the tools
Hmm.
right every day. And we don't have to believe it or manifest it. We just have to do it, and then it
Right.
works. So
Yeah. Patience and
yeah,
faith.
yeah.
How long were you sick with it? With it's
Um,
schizoaffective? Is that what you had?
yeah. Well,
Hmm.
I started getting sick in 2002 after graduating from college, and was diagnosed in 2003, and then I didn't find melatonin until 2015. So it was like 12 years. But it was really bad though. Like I ended up in a group home,
Mm.
like living in a group home. It was like really, really bad. I have a lot of trauma as well. So, um, working on healing the trauma, like the meditations help and things like that. So,
Oh, yes. The
but
meditations are great.
yeah.
Sometimes I forget about those. I don't do those as often as I should now, but I used them a lot. And
Yeah.
did you like listen to Anthony a lot, like his podcast, just as some kind of comfort? Because I know I did.
To this day, every single day, I listen to podcasts when I drive.
Mm,
I'd probably listen to them all like a dozen times, all of them over.
that's awesome.
So yeah,
Yeah. But there's just a certain kind of comfort that they bring, just the truth and the wording and
yeah.
yeah.
Helps me stay focused and inspired every day. So yeah,
Well, and it's impossible to learn everything and remember it, so it's
yeah,
good to always be refreshing.
yeah,
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 because it's so
definitely.
much.
Well, that's amazing. I'm so happy you've healed and doing so well, and you're so passionate about the information like I am. It's a wonderful thing. So
Yeah,
thank you for sharing your healing story for people who might be struggling with anxiety out there and looking for a way to heal. So
you're welcome.
appreciate it.
Happy to.
God bless you.
Yeah, you too.